This model of the Class 81 in TT gauge comes from the railway model company Berliner TT-Bahn. It dates from the 1980s and features, for example, particularly precisely worked out details on the boiler fittings. All axles are driven. They are connected to each other via the linkage. The length over the buffers is only 93 millimeters. It is interesting to note that this particular model has the number 81-1, which was the first loco of the real life locomotive series 81. Indeed, there were only 10 original locomotives. They were produced as a standard steam locomotive in 1928 and were intended originally for shunting service. The Hanomag company produced these 11,080 millimeters long and 67.5 tons heavy locomotives. They could hold 8 cubic meters of water and 3 tons of coal. Due to the planned use as a shunting locomotive, both the relatively small water and coal reserves, as well as the top speed of only 45 kilometers per hour, were sufficient. To go along with this Class 81 4-coupled locomotive, there were also the 3-coupled equivalent locos of the Class 80. In order to optimize the Class 81, it was necessary to save on mass. Apart from the cylinder and the axles, there was only the possibility of reducing the size of the coupled wheels so that they only had a diameter of 1 meter 10 instead of 1 meter 25. The advantage of these savings was then indeed that the reserves of coal and water that could be carried lasted longer. Therefore, the locomotives of this series could easily be on the road for 3 whole hours at medium loads without having to replenish their supplies. The locomotives were able to then move a train weighing 1,100 tons on the plane at a speed of 45 kilometers per hour. Of course, this reduced on inclines. Even with a gradient of 1%, only 425 tons could be transported at only 25 kilometers per hour, which was, however, still sufficient for shunting locomotives. Interestingly, the boiler of the Class 81 locomotive was 1 meter longer than that of the Class 80, and the 81s also had a superheater. This meant that superheated steam could ultimately be used. Otherwise, the two series were so similar that many components could be interchanged in keeping with the standard locomotive program. The first series of the 10 before mentioned locos was delivered just as planned. After that, however, the Deutsche Reichsbahn decided that the other locomotives that were still available at that time were totally sufficient and that no more should be ordered. It was not until 1939 that another 60 machines were about to be ordered, but the Second World War got in the way. And after the end of the war, well, all 10 locomotives of this series remained in the western part of Germany and thus ended up with the Deutsche Bundesbahn. The last of them was retired already in 1963. Today, only one of the 10 locos remains. The locomotive with the number 81-4 was acquired by the German Society for Railway History in 1971 and today belongs to the Hessen-Kurier, a non-profit association founded in 1972 with headquarters in the city of Kassel, which collects railway vehicles and puts them into operation.